You better get out right now. There's spoilers. There's spoilers. You better run. You better tap out. You better go hit the backspace button. You don't want to hear this right now.
Hey everybody, welcome to Watchers Week, where we finally complete our end of Journey to Infinity with Avengers Infinity War. It's finally here, the 19th movie in the MCU. It's a nerdy show for nerdy people because that's who we are and that's who we care about. My name is Steven and I'm here with my fellow watchers. We got Timothy. How's it going, Tim?
Oh, we're using our fake names. All right. Well, hi, I'm Tim.
All right. And we got Dr. Cosmic in the building. How's it going?
What's up, everybody? What's up? Also, Spider-Man's dead, so we're talking spoilers, son. You should have seen the movie. You should know this.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay. Right at it. With that said, I'm sure everybody is well aware that this is spoiler related because we
guess now.
waited.
Jeez Louise, I thought we were gonna give them a little bit of heads up first. Should we restart this over? I think we should restart this over.
Yeah, we should.
Loki's dead. Spider-Man. Everyone's dead, guys. Stan Lee. I mean, I don't even know if he made it through. Hopefully. Jesus.
Well, Stanley already filmed his
I thought we were gonna do the giveaway first because that guy might not have seen it.
Oh man.
All right. Well, yeah. I mean, like no time like the present. Am I right? I mean, we don't have the Infinity Gauntlet. You know, the other guy has it. So that's true. We do have this wonderful giveaway for those who took the time to enter in the Watchers Week giveaway for the Avengers Infinity 2-pack of Scarlet Witch and Vision. You know, the Marvel Legends. And, of course, we do have a winner. You guys can see my screen, right?
Yep.
Okay. Just want to be sure because we pulled from a random group of people and we came up with the winner as Ramon Tavares.
Tavares.
What was that?
Tavares.
Ramon Tavares. Congratulations, Ramon. You are the winner for the Watchers Week giveaway. You've stuck with us through the 19 episodes of our podcast, and there for your enjoyment, we'll be sending you out some DMs and personal messages for you to get your address and get the figures onto your way.
And hopefully you didn't listen to this and get spoiled.
Right. Hopefully not. But you probably did. So let's get into it.
Blame Chaz for that. Yeah.
I mean, I whispered it in the beginning, so it's in the title.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, spoilers.
It did. I did make sure to say spoilers, but I also
everybody in the world should have seen this movie. This is a game-changing movie, history-making movie.
But so many theaters, I mean, could fit in your seat. I knew a lot of people that couldn't get to watch it opening weekend because
you sneak into that theater, son. You get into that theater. I watched it a second time in the front row. It sucked. It was horrible. It was a lot of TNA and mouths and breathing. And it was weird. Although I did notice that how realistic Thanos is. I mean, my God, he had stubble. He even had a hairline if you look really closely, which, again, I was in the front row the second time watching it. So it's insane. We'll get to him. He's there. He's somewhere. He's hiding. He might be using the...
No, I don't see him. No, I don't see him.
Well, there he is at the top.
Oh, yeah, there he is. I was trying to find a more close-up image. There is one, but it's like page 600 of these pics, and I don't want to do that. Cool. I got a lot of pics. Because there's a lot of spoilers. Like, okay, first of all, no, seriously, spoilers. Get out while you still can. I mean, we basically ruined it. Mark Ruffalo, actually.
I don't know about we.
Well, you're in this. You know, you could have stopped him. You pulled a Don Cheadle, Tim, and you didn't stop. You pulled a Don Cheadle, man. You were too late. But yeah, spoilers. We're gonna be talking about spoilers. Like the biggest spoiler of them all. What? Okay, hold up. Am I at this one? Yeah. Boom. Y'all expect this? Y'all expect this to prove that I'm right? Huh? What I say? What did I say from the get-go? Oh, the MCU villains don't die. They're stuck in the gems or the stones, if you will.
Well, I think everybody kind of knew that this guy was somewhere, but I think was more of a surprise of where he was, like where he ended up and how he looked and everything. Because I did not think that was him under the cloak.
What was it?
I was thinking it was either Death or even possibly like Eternity, which would have been probably a little too crazy. So I see why they didn't go there. But for a split second, I was thinking mostly Death. I was like, this is Death. And then for a split second, I was like, Eternity? What? Because it was a dude, and I didn't know if they were going to gender swap or what. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not Hugo like the original Red Skull, but it is Red Skull, far older, far more cosmic, I would say. I don't know. He was floating. I don't know if there's some moments. Definitely, the most confusing scene in this entire movie was on that Soulstone planet. But do you guys want to talk about it, or do you got something else you want to talk about first?
Well, to add to your point about Marvel villains never dying, and we can still talk about Red Skull if y'all have more to say on him. But I just wanted to say that the second time watching this movie, I totally completely missed Thor's line when he's telling Rocket about how he's lost everybody, and he's like, and also my brother Loki, and he pauses and he says, "I think." And I was like, what? How did I miss this? So he doesn't even know if Loki's actually dead. So, I mean,
guarantee that this guy, has seen his brother kill himself three times now.
Right. Which, yeah, I know is understandable, but I mean, I'm still wondering, will he come back? And like, obviously Red Skull's still out there. So are we going to be seeing not only like our heroes come back, but also like these villains? Could it be like what you were predicting, Steven, from the get-go, like Thanos assembling an evil Avengers?
Thanos knows how to kill someone. He didn't leave Loki not dead. I mean, even Thanos doesn't hold Loki in high regard either. I mean, he said, like, if you consider failure experience. So I don't think that there's any way that it's possible. Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is that
plus I'm kind of over Loki's character.
Right. True that. The guy's been in as many movies as most Avengers. It's just that I don't know, he would normally, I guess, fall when he fell to the floor and his body hit the floor. I don't think that's an illusion per se. I think that was because if it were an illusion, and first of all, I don't know why Loki didn't run. He had plenty of time. He was like, "Oh, we have a Hulk," and then he like ran away. And I was like, "Cool, go away, flee into an escape pod or something with the Tesseract." But he was like, "Nah, I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna start talking to you, and then I'm gonna try to kill you." I'm like, "What, dude? You have no control over a guy who has 2 Infinity Stones now. You're gonna stab him with a tiny blade?"
Yeah. Not to mention the entire Black Order, which was a really great all on their own. I mean, each of them could have had their own movies where they were the solo antagonist for the film, but to have them just as these kind of this entourage for Thanos shows how more of a threat that he is.
Right. Yeah, and now that you bring it out, Steven, now that I think about it, he did have the Space Stone, and we know that the Space Stone can like open portals, so it does kind of beg the question, why didn't he flee the scene?
Right, yeah. He could have just been anywhere in time with the Tesseract. I'm not sure if he didn't know how to control it, if
yeah.
That was it.
I mean, he does want to save Thor. That's what they kind of showed, was Thanos was pretty much like nearly killing Thor, and then he ends up saving him, which I was really surprised by. Like, it really does show that how multi-layered Loki is as a character.
Right, and that's the kind of the problem I have now after finishing the movie with my whole theory about the MCU villains are in the stones, is because Thanos doesn't need a dark Avengers. He doesn't need an evil MCU villain Avenger kind of thing. He doesn't need a team behind him. He didn't even need the Black Order, really. It was just more of an errand puppet than anything else. I mean, this guy took on the Hulk by himself. I mean, he took on the Avengers by himself without his special armor we see in the opening scene, I guess.
And speaking of that scene, I loved that part where Ebony Maw kind of calls the Black Order off. He's like, no, let him have his fun, because he knows Thanos is going to come out on top of that fight.
Right.
So that was just a great little nugget.
Absolutely, yeah. The only problem I had with the Black Order is how quickly they were kind of killed off after being introduced. They were like, oh, snap, Ebony Maw. I mean, first of all, him and the crocodile, what big crocodile dude with hammer, what is his name, Bowser? Okay, him and Ebony Maw and Bowser. The whole fight with New York was awesome, but then they got killed later on in the movie. And then the most disappointing part of the Black Order was the Corbus, Clave, and
whoa. Let's back up. My boy Ebony, he might still be floating out there in space. We don't know. He was just frozen in a little capsicle, so he could still be. I'm hoping he's still alive, because he was the best member of the group.
He was the most annoying character out of the group. Everybody, please grab your hands and let's say a prayer to Thanos. Who are children of it. Oh God. Hey, horn chick, come stab me in the heart, because I cannot listen to this guy anymore.
But I kind of felt he kind of played the role that I thought Loki was actually going to play, because when Loki said, I know Earth best, I thought Thanos was gonna let him live. And I was like, oh, he's gonna be our Mephisto of this story. But it was actually Ebony Maw who turned out to be a little bit similar. I don't want to say he was exactly like Mephisto, because obviously totally different, two different characters. But he was kind of more front and center.
Yeah, Ebony Maw. I feel like he had a lot of great moments. His whole banter with Doctor Strange and Iron Man, that was really great when he first comes to Earth. The Stonekeeper, does this chattering animal speak for you? I was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. Speaking of uh, Ebony Maw being kind of like a similar role to Mephisto, um, that's those are the exact his speech that he gives to Thanos when he gives him the Tesseract. He uses the same words as Mephisto does when he talks to Thanos in the comics. So right there you get to see some parallels between the comics and the film, which there was a lot. So it was great to see in this film moments that you read in the comics that was that stood out to you when reading it, also stood out to you again in the film, because they just highlighted and accentuated them and everything. The ones where it's like, my humble personage bows before your grandeur, or something like that.
Right. Yeah. Just a big old thesaurus, just walking Squidward thesaurus.
That was such a great line.
Kind of out of left field, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Totally unexpected, too, but I think that's what added to the levity of it.
I'm not even sure if they own that. I wonder if they're going to get in trouble.
Yeah, Disney and I don't know, Nickelodeon are kind of sometimes in uh, synchronicity, but yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a synergy. That's the word I was trying to think of.
So we get the first, oh my gosh, death in the MCU with Heimdall.
Well, Loki.
And
it was
and if you,
Heimdall first.
yeah, it was Heimdall.
I thought it was Loki because
No, because Thanos is walking around before he gets to Loki, or the Black Order is walking around, and then we
But
see.
Heimdall lives to Bifrost Hulk away.
Well, because I think wasn't he
And then they
dying?
stab him, don't they?
Maybe.
Oh wait,
I
no,
thought he
yeah,
was
you're right.
Okay, so Loki was the first death. First villain, first death.
Makes sense. But okay, if y'all tuned in to last week's episode, which was Thor Ragnarok, I had this theory that Tim missed out on because he didn't want any theories or preconceptions going into Infinity War. So my theory was that if all the Asgardians died, which I figured they would, my theory was that Heimdall was going to live to become like not necessarily his right hand man, but basically a citizen of Wakanda. And it was kind of what do you call it, wishful thinking, because I mean Heimdall is one of my favorite
Oh, I thought you were gonna
characters.
say racist.
No, no. Um, he's one of my favorite characters. I didn't like he was the last person on my list that I thought would die. I figured Vision would die, and I was preparing myself mentally for that, but I could not handle pretty much all my favorite characters dying, and Heimdall was one of them. And oh man, it was both gut and heart wrenching. It was bad.
Right. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about Tim. How does it feel watching the movie without watching any trailers, spoilers, or theories or anything like that? How was the film for you?
Honestly, I'm guessing it was the same as a lot of people because I know talking to you guys about it, you guys were mentioning a lot of stuff that wasn't in the trailers, as well as a lot of your guys' theories that were wrong about, or all those kind of guesses and all that kind of stuff. Um, Overall, I really enjoyed it. I didn't have any preconceptions, so I know a lot of people were upset about some things that were present in the trailers that didn't show up in the film. I didn't I didn't get those moments. I didn't get any disappointment, or I wasn't searching for those moments. Um, I guess the only thing was that I enjoyed a lot more of the movie because I hadn't seen it. So a lot of enjoyed, whereas a lot of times when I pointed them out later, you guys were like, "Oh, that was in the trailer." So, I mean, yeah, overall, I mean, if yeah, I would definitely, I had no regrets.
No regrets. So you're just gonna continue being a no spoiler, no trailer kind of guy.
Yeah, I think so. I feel like it, helps out a bunch. Again, Ragnarok was one of the movies where it really hit me where I didn't enjoy this movie. I didn't enjoy the movie as much, but then I imagined myself, what if I didn't know about Hulk showing up, or what if they hadn't originally, uh, did the editing on the trailer for that one and make it look like he lost or he didn't lose an eye or something like that. Simple things like that. Um, uh, that was like, okay, maybe I would have enjoyed the movie more, which I felt, kind of pulled away from it because I knew it was already in there, and I've already, you know, I've gotten all the feelings I can get from that one scene or two scenes.
Right, right.
Black Panther was again another film that I didn't watch any trailers for, um, and that one worked out well, and the streak continues.
So the reason one of the trailers actually that show a scene is that they're all running, I think, toward Thanos. There was an army behind them, so I thought they were running toward the, what do they call, the space dog army in Wakanda, but it showed Hulk in the background, and yet Hulk's not in this film unless you're talking about the first 3 minutes of the film. So there's a whole dynamic with Bruce and Hulk that is played out and is kind of disappointing kind of in the entire film.
I felt it was very drawn out. Again, I wasn't expecting to see Hulk or something like that, but I was getting a little bit exhausted by the maybe, second or third time they brought it up. It was I didn't want to hear about it unless it was like, oh, this is it, this is gonna happen. It just felt like it was, consistently. I mean, I guess for a lot of people it was on their mind from having seen it, but I figured, I was like, like it'll happen if it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I was more focused on this whole what is the rest of them gonna do,
Yeah. I think you hit the nail on the head that it was drawn out. I feel like once he was in the Hulkbuster suit, I thought it was going to end. I thought we were past the Hulk. I was like, he's in the Hulkbuster suit. Let's just move on from this joke, because it was kind of like what those kid movies do with like poop jokes, where you're like, oh, another fart joke or another. It was drawn out. So I wasn't, once he was in the Hulkbuster suit, I wasn't expecting for the Hulkbuster suit to get trashed and then him still trying to turn into the Hulk. I was like, okay, please move on for this. It was my biggest negative, most definitely. I think the only...
I mean, other than everybody dying at the end,
Well, yeah.
That was a huge negative for me.
I can't even remember what my other negative was because it was so minor, but I mean, that's it. Other than this being the biggest one, this movie definitely holds its own. And yeah, I mean, we'll get into it in once we get to final thoughts, but this is definitely up there with Civil War. Man, I'm trying to think. I'm really just stalling because I'm trying to think of my second negative, but I really can't think of it.
Right. So the worst part for Hulk for me was when they face change him, like when he morphed into the Hulk, so that Hulk could answer for himself, no, I'm not coming out. I mean, After the first time, I was like, whoa, that's really cool and really rad. Then the second time, I'm like, oh, all right. We got it, Hulk. There's no need. How about a little bit more than just saying no? I get that you're...
That's the other thing. The other thing. I wish it was explained a little bit more. Like, they could have even said that Thanos was using one of the stones to prevent him from turning into the Hulk, because maybe that first fight that they had, who knows, maybe it did drain Thanos a little bit and he got a little bit exhausted. So I would have liked it if it was something like that, or if they would have given us they weren't giving us any exposition, which sometimes can hurt a film, but too much of it can hurt a film. But in this case, I think we needed some of it, because he was just kind of popping in and saying no, and you didn't really know why.
Right. Bruce could have said, like, I think he's scared, and then that would have upped Thanos's evilness throughout.
That would have been great.
Yeah, that would have been like just a slow pan, like Banner realizing it, and he's like, oh geez, I think he's scared. And then everybody's like, oh my God, everybody run. There's no hope. Oh my God, Thanos is coming. And the audience will be like, oh my gosh, Hulk is scared. Oh, dang. So then throughout the movie, you would say, oh, hey, Hulk's not coming out, and Thanos is even a more big bad than we thought it was.
Yeah. The other thing, too, is that it does go back to my whole problem that I have with pretty much every superhero franchise does this at one point or another, where they don't have their heroes transform, whether it be a costume or in this case CGI, because they want to give these actors more face time. And for me, I really don't like that, because it's like, you're getting paid all this money, put the mask on, do the thing, thing ring, do your thing, whatever you want to say. Yeah, and so for me, this did kind of seem like that. It was kind of like, oh, in all of these movies, Mark Ruffalo has been, what's it called, mocapped. Well, guess what? So has Andy Serkis, and it seems to be working out for him. So right. I don't know. I'm making it a bigger deal than it is.
No.
Mainly just because I'm nitpicking at this point, because other than this, like I said, there's really not much to be upset about.
Well, the thing was that Bruce was definitely hurting from Iron Man 3 itis. He was like, you know what? My face hasn't been on screen long enough. And we're like, yeah, because you're butt ugly and you're not green and you don't do anything. Shut it, Ruffalo. Put the dots on your face. Put the balls on your face, Ruffalo, and get to work. You know, I mean, I'm not sure if Hulk could do a lot either, but he could have, you know, he can't shoot lasers and blasters like the Hulkbuster, but I don't know. Seeing him is with the fight, you know, we didn't get the whole team back again from the first Avenger movie. We didn't get a slow pan, zoom around the crowd.
You know what else we didn't get? We didn't get an Avengers Assemble.
Yeah.
We didn't get an Avengers Assemble, but it's probably because not all the Avengers were here yet. I'm looking at this Vanity Fair magazine cover, and Paul Rudd actually has a tear in his eye. So yes, two of the one was actually an OG Avenger, Jeremy Renner, wasn't in this movie, and neither was Paul Rudd. And they kind of give us a little bit of, they gave us one line of exposition of why they weren't there, because they were dealing with, they're pretty much the only Avengers that have families. And so they were like, yeah, the Accords like really affected them. There was a theory though floating out there after people had seen the film, saying that Hawkeye wasn't there because he's like really a Skrull or something, or he died or something like that, and he's a Skrull. That was pretty crazy.
That is crazy and improbable probably. All right, so we got Heimdall shoving Hulk all the way to Doctor Strange place. So where we got to see Doctor Strange and Wong going out to lunch, which, you know, puts in perspective of this movie is that Doctor Strange hasn't eaten, probably. He was like, you know what? I'm peckish. I'm going out to lunch, getting myself a sandwich, going to go with my buddy Wong here. And, you know, maybe a day later, a couple hours. How long did this movie take place? Like an hour, right?
I was going to say one of the biggest issues I think I have with the MCU is that they're not very clear on the timeline. I know we talked about this in Thor Ragnarok, about how much time takes place between the movies as well as the time span happening within the movies. Because this is supposed to be like years from Homecoming or something, or not years, like months from Homecoming, and yet it happens immediately after Ragnarok. It starts immediately after Ragnarok, and then it's also like a certain, you know, time frame from I don't know. It's quite the gap, and you don't really get the weight of it, because I know a lot of people who watched the film were confused too.
Right. Very confusing MCU. I think, according to Ragnarok, it was like 2 years since Sokovia, and then since Ragnarok took place, you know, I think what was Civil War, that was maybe 2.5 years, 3 years, close to 3 years since Civil War. and Chris Evans got a beard. Bruce Banner's been Hulk for those 2 years, so I don't know how this time line works, and nobody really does except maybe Doctor Strange. I think Doctor Strange probably messed up the timeline a lot with his whole Dormammu movie, which, first of all, his fight scenes with Thanos were amazing. Just the way we get to see him really just destroy the guy. I mean, they were so close to getting his fingers out of the glove, but the way he like moves around and everything, you're like, man, this guy's Sorcerer Supreme. But I didn't get to see how he wasn't training when we first see him. He was out taking lunch. I mean,
well,
I don't know.
That's exactly
that was
my whole thing about the time frame thing, is that it has been a long time since Doctor Strange, so he has been given time to develop his skills and become more of a threat to Thanos and stuff like that. But we didn't really get that because there's no reference.
Right. Yeah. So
yeah, maybe in that 5-second scene of Wong and him fixing to go to lunch, they could have probably had a quick banter moment.
Or a lesson kind of thing, maybe.
Oh yeah, that could have been good too. Yeah,
Just
him training him. And then Strange being like, I already know that spell, Wong. And Wong being like, all right, calm down.
Jesus,
Dude.
I just want a sandwich. You're grumpy when you're hungry. Eat a Snickers.
But the banter between Tony and Strange is probably some of my favorite moments.
Yeah, I mean, we get to see Iron Man with Gwyneth Paltrow, taking a nice little jog around New York City. Freaking amazing. But then we get to see them having talks about a kid. I'm planning to talk about like an hour about this one scene where we get a little tiny Iron Man Jr. First of all, horrible metaphors, just like Homecoming. So I am glad that they're using this as like quality of Tony Stark, is that he just comes up with horrible metaphors where he's like, you pee your bed and then you screw a pooch. You know that feeling? You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. And you're like, no, I don't know what you're talking about at all. And you're like, I'm trying to say that I want to have a kid. And you're like, oh, well, just say that, Tony. But yeah, that whole great, absolute, wonderful scene. They're back together. They're about to have a wedding. And then Doctor Strange comes and ruins it because Hulk comes and ruins his house.
Which Gwyneth I can't even speak. Gwendolyn, whatever her name is. She should have. She seems like the type that watches the CW. She should know that weddings never end well, and that it was doomed from the get-go. I mean, yeah, I don't know if they're even gonna have that wedding anymore after this movie. Are they? Do you guys think they're gonna have that wedding in Avengers 4?
This whole franchise thing is gonna end with that wedding.
Oh, yeah. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, no doubt that this wedding.
I guarantee you that.
I don't know.
The question is, who is gonna be Iron Man's best man?
Oof.
Strange. I'm just kidding. Because we didn't get awesome facial hair moment or awesome facial hair bros moment, which I thought we were gonna get.
That.
Yeah, maybe we'll get it in Avengers 4.
You know who did have an awesome facial hair moment? Captain America and Thor.
Yeah, those guys really did bring it. I mean, there he is. Yeah, I mean, look at that glorious beard. And first of all, Cap didn't say a whole lot during this movie at all. He was just like, said...
I loved his line, the lines he did give, at least. I mean, everything that, basically came out of his mouth was awesome, quotable, totally straight from the character, in character or whatever. That part where he gets into Ross's face and says like, I'm not seeking forgiveness and I'm way past for asking permission or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, let's get it.
Yeah, that was a great scene. Although it does seeing Ross again and him being like in charge of a huge portion of the government, it looks like, reminds me only toward the end where everybody kind of dies, half of the world dies. I'm pretty sure he's going to be still standing. So Ross is probably going to be like the president of the world or something like that. Like, I am totally fearful of when Tony Stark comes back to Earth or when the Avengers get out of Wakanda to see what state of the world it has transpired to.
One other thing that I noticed that was pretty insane when you think about it, because Justice League never gave us our black suited Superman. This movie gave us 3 black suited Supermen. It gave us Cap, Thor, and then we're gonna be getting another one, Vision, even though he's dead right now, but he's totally gonna come back. We know it from the comics that he comes back as a white sort of like ghost figure, but in the film universe, he's kind of white. They made the silver parts really like pale and bright, but his face is kind of gray, and then his suit is kind of black.
Yeah, I mean, that guy's dead, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Steven, read a comic book. He's alive.
I was gonna say they're most likely what they're gonna do is say that Shuri was able to scan the Mind Stone and create some sort of vibranium replacement.
Yeah,
Ooh.
he's definitely gonna. I have a feeling he's gonna be more robotic. He's probably gonna forget Wanda, which is gonna be, really sad. He's not gonna have any memory of her. He's basically gonna be Jarvis again, just like
No. That's
a souped up Surrey.
that's like
Well,
worse than
like
death.
they said, when you take out, I mean, Thanos didn't take out the Mind Stone delicately, but like Bruce Banner said, it's possible that there's a lot of him in there that's part Ruffalo, part Stark, part Ultron. That is like, maybe there will be some Vision left in there, or
Right.
and Jarvis. Sorry.
I don't know what he was trying to prove to the group. He's like, maybe there's some good left over. I'm like, the Mind Stone didn't make him evil. Ultron and Tony and slightly you made him evil. Dark was the only one.
Vision was never evil.
Well, at the beginning, remember he was like attacking everybody, and like then he looked out into the world, and they were all confused. Like, are you on our side? You were Ultron's puppet, and he's like, y'all, I'm on the side of life and love, free living and all that. Like your cape, bro. Mind if I steal the look? I can't remember Age of Ultron.
Man, that Paul
yeah.
Bettany impersonation was stellar.
Yeah, thank you, dude. Him and Wanda. I don't know how I feel about that. How Paul Bentley just with his forehead's huge. Okay, let's just say it. Is that like I want the Mind Stone in there to cover up the big old forehead, and then the whole like romantic Scotland area, like it works, doesn't it? Yeah, it definitely works. Yeah, no, it works. And you're like, oh, they're in love. That's awesome. I'm watching Infinity War though. Can we wrap this up a little bit?
But I think they found a way to do that because he's immediately impaled.
Yeah,
which
dude, that
totally,
was pretty...
yeah.
Which begs the difference. Does the Black Order just like follow the Aurora or the essence of the Infinity Stones anywhere they go?
It's possible. It's possible they give off like crazy amounts of energy readings.
I was gonna say they knew that Doctor Strange had it.
Right, and knew exactly where to find it too. They weren't just like they didn't just happen to land in the right city. Like they weren't landing in like Missouri and Connecticut, and we're like, "Is anybody a stone keeper?" And they're like, "What? Never mind. Go back up."
Okay, real quick, I got to get this out of the way, and it's gonna kind of tie everything together, and then we can jump off wherever we want to go from there.
All right.
So we talked about Thanos taking the Mind Stone from Vision, Thanos taking the Space Stone from Loki. So pretty much every person who had a stone is somewhat like still connected to that stone. Gamora is still connected to the Soul Stone. They gave that away at the end. Like Tim was saying, Vision could quite possibly still, his essence could be inside the Mind Stone. Loki could have done some kind of Asgardian magic and is somehow inside the Space Stone. I don't know, or his soul is in there or something. Essence.
Nah, he did.
I know. I'm still thinking he's dead, but I'm just after hearing that line that Thor gave, watching it a second time. I don't know. I don't know anything at this point because a lot of people that I thought were going to die in this movie ended up living. So I don't want to put anything off the table. But anyway, so they're tied to those stones. I have a feeling we didn't get Doctor Strange's astral form whatsoever. I have a feeling that he quite possibly, after seeing those futures, he could have possibly gone into his astral form and told everybody the plan of what to do and when to do it. And then he could have put a curse on the time stone, maybe. I don't know. That one's kind of a stretch. But anyway, all these people are still connected to these stones somehow. So is this how they might defeat Thanos, how they might revert everything back by fighting him within?
I'm sure that's going to be a small part of the next movie. Here's the thing is that Gamora isn't in the Soul Stone. It's the Soul Stone that has the soul. In order to give a soul for a soul, I think what it means. Okay, here's the confusing part: is that it's kind of hard to tell whether or not what Red Skull meant when he said a soul for a soul. Because I think it meant you have to give Gamora a soul so that the Soul Stone may have a soul, but it's not her soul. It's the Soul Stone's soul, like it's an entity or something.
Yeah, I don't know. That was a little bit confusing too. I took it more of like he just had to sacrifice her. It didn't have anything necessarily to do with souls. It was just, a life for a life, and then the soul stone would like reveal itself to him. However, to me, anybody who dies could quite possibly be inside the soul stone because that's kind of how it is in the comic books.
It's not the comic books.
I know it's not the comics, but I'm just saying that usually in the comic books, anybody who dies who is directly connected with the soul stone, like they had to have had touched it at least, they're in the soul stone. So I mean, they could pull that. They could do something else entirely different. Watching that.
Say, what Tim? What did you think it means by a soul for a soul?
I thought it meant that it soul for a soul. I mean, what you're from how much inspiration they're drawing from the source material in the comics. I think what they're going to end up doing is having Gamora be a somewhat taking the place of death that she does in the comics. So rather than a romantic relationship that Thanos has with death, it's more of a familial one. And it is going to be represented by Gamora, who will be related to the Soul Stone. I mean, Red Skull made it come pretty clear when he said that his curse or whatever was to be forever protecting a prize that he couldn't, get for himself because he didn't love anyone. So I think what happened was when he said a soul for a soul was that when the person died that you killed, sacrificed, whatever. What it meant was that the stone kind of like encased the person's soul, and therefore came to fruition, came to be, so that the soul stone only exists when a soul is given up for it to manifest around.
Which makes me kind of think of how Red Skull came about, because he got transported by the Tesseract into this planet that holds the Soul Stone, which probably kudos to him for like doing it. He was probably thinking like, oh, what, 2 Infinity Stones in one lifetime? A rock. And then turns out he couldn't get it because he had to jump off a cliff or shove somebody off a cliff of who he loves. So then what?
No, yeah, I was just agreeing with you, and I was fixing it.
So he jumps off the cliff and says, like, because I love myself. He probably meditated a couple years ago, like, you gotta love me for who I am, self-love. Jumped off the cliff, and then the soul stone wrapped around his body, and then the person talking to Gamora and Thanos when they come is the soul stone talking to them.
Yeah, I have a feeling
but it
that
has to be, yeah.
I have a feeling that because we had kind of talked about this after we saw the movie, that it was impossible for Red Skull to get the Soul Stone because he didn't love anybody. He was, a freaking Nazi. He was like a cold-blooded killer. Didn't love anybody. I have a feeling that he knew. Like, I think the Soul Stone was just there. Like, I don't think necessarily it made itself appear out of nowhere or anything. I think it was there where Gamora fell, and maybe Red Skull knew that, and he tried taking it at one point, and it tore his like literal physical soul apart, and maybe he like bailed before he could be completely wiped out of existence or whatever, and so now he's just kind of like this in limbo type of state.
I think what would have been a cool thing to do is when Red Skull's like explaining to them like, oh, this is how it works and stuff like that, show that like how he came to that conclusion was that he kind of like shoved just a bunch of people off the cliff, and so like at the bottom of it was just like a bunch of bodies, but it was like, well, turns out you have to be somebody you love, and I don't have any of those. So I kind of went for quantity over quality, as Nazis tend to do.
Shots fired at Nazis. No, I'm just kidding.
And then I thought that would have been like a more, I don't know.
Which, if there's any Nazis watching, we do not apologize.
Right. Yeah, some more exposition in the movie would have been nice here. Some more exposition at the beginning of the movie. Does Korg or Valkyrie live? We don't know. I don't know.
I really appreciated that also we had a mention of Thanos's, ascendance, son of Alars. I mean, this is like the first official mention of the Mentor in the MCU, and therefore the seeds have been planted regarding Eternals.
Yeah, for once, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely got to happen. As far as Valkyrie, I really wish they would have shown just a quick snippet of. I would have loved to have seen her fight like either Thanos or the Black Order, but even if we just got a quick snippet of her fleeing the scene, that would have been great. I have a feeling she's still alive, hopefully. But what I was gonna say, because one of y'all, I forgot if it was. Now I'm forgetting who brought it up. But what were we talking about before the Soul Stone? Now I can't.
Gamora?
Wow.
Oof, yeah. I mean, hey, at the end of this movie, everybody was deathly silent and confused. mainly because everybody was kept clapping at the theater. They're like, "Woo, yeah!" I'm like, hold up, exposition, guys. Can we keep it down? Shh, shh, shh. Now I'm missing parts. Like Doctor Strange, what did he say? Did he say there was no other way, or this is the only way? I don't know.
Aren't they synonymous?
Maybe, I don't know. Yeah. So while the dog does that, let's talk about the Guardians. And the Guardians in this movie were pretty funny at the beginning, but then Gamora kind of ruined it all by being a party pooper. And then once they lost Gamora, they got really serious, except Drax. And then that's it. I mean, there's only a couple of scenes with the actual Drax, Mantis, and Star-Lord. Everything else, though, was a lot more scenes with Rocket Raccoon and Groot and Thor, which were a trio I didn't think I would want, but now I need in every movie to make a cameo of.
I mean, the Guardians.
Yeah, I mean, this was exactly what it was like. Just point blank stare if you're trying to remember the movie. The thing with Mantis is that, we get her whole still trying to adjust into the reality world from killing children in her line of work before in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 to now doing this. We got Star-Lord trying to be non-jealous of Thor, who comes in and totally starts stealing stuff. He does start stealing everything they have, and he thinks it's okay with them. I don't know what kind of friendship Thor has, but maybe that's why all his friends and family are dead.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Guardians did all a great job. I I mean, it's hard for me to, focus on such single aspects of this movie because it
or in
is
general, altogether. It sounds like it's hard for you to focus in general. It sounds like.
well, I think the thing about this is that this movie, um, is that if it very much feels like an event. It's overall a really great film. Um, but I mean, there's a lot of what's it? It's a lot of back and forth, I feel like. I feel like Thor's whole side quest with Rocket and Groot that goes on, it goes on a little too long. I mean, it's just them getting another thing for Thor, another weapon for Thor to use. But apparently, from Ragnarok, he was better than the weapon. So, why did he need a weapon again? It it just goes to show how much of like an inconsequential movie Ragnarok was, where it didn't seem to like really fit into what the MCU wanted to do. That in the very beginning they're like, oh, all the Asgardians on like a special ship with Loki and Korg and Meek and Valkyrie, all your favorite characters that you got along the way. Nope, dead. We got to kill them because it's important to make Thanos seem bad. And then, okay, we got to go get you a weapon. Why? Because Thanos is really strong and you need a weapon. Okay. And then, hey, your eye patch? Yeah, forget that. Here's a robot eye. So, I mean, that was kind of like it was just a lot of time undoing a whole film, I felt like.
Well,
So,
well,
I
I
mean, it was
can't
just, yeah.
I can't blame this film too much for it. It seems like Ragnarok is definitely in the wrong. While that film was entertaining, it
No,
wasn't.
no, yeah.
Yeah, like you said, it
That's
wasn't
not what
consequential.
I'm saying because Ragnarok was that way is we detracted from this film because we had to clean up that kind of stuff.
Well,
So it was like,
yeah, I mean, I get it, but without those scenes, we wouldn't have gotten that great scene of us finally being able to relate with Thor because Ragnarok was so tongue in cheek about everything that was going on with that film. Like, we didn't feel the weight of Odin dying. We didn't feel the weight of him having to kill his sister. And so when we finally got that moment with him and Rocket, like, it was pretty
right.
impactful.
No, yes, absolutely. Yeah. Thor revealing that he's 1,500 years old and he's killed twice as many as of that. This was like top Chris Hemsworth performance, and it just makes me feel ashamed that we didn't get that in Ragnarok. This small, like you said, small scene that he really did is filled with so much more emotion and impact and weight that Ragnarok just didn't deliver on. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, I know it's a lot of people's favorite movies, and I know there's a lot of parts in this film with Thanos interacting with the Guardians, which are some of my favorites too, but I just felt like it dragged on a bit too much.
It did a
Like
little. And
for the you know uh, payoff, I mean, it was them again getting a weapon thing for him to Bifrost down with Rocket and Groot and them to come to Earth so they could fight. Which, you know, if you think about it, like that's if he had bifrosted first from instead of just straight there to Earth and instead bifrosted from like go to Titan, pick up those guys because the rest of the Guardians are there, and then Bifrost everybody from Titan to the Earth so that way they could help stop Thanos. Like then that would have been like, okay, great, wow, that was a really great thing to get because now we can like basically bamf our way across the universe.
Yeah, the only problem though is that they didn't know that the Guardians were on Titan. Nebula told the Guardians to get on to Titan. I don't know how she knew that Thanos was going to go to Titan, but he was there. So if anything, Thor and Groot and Rocket would go to nowhere, see that it was on fire, then go
They
back
don't
to
have
Earth.
like space walkie-talkies or something?
No, but I am curious on to what Star Lord was using to learn about the axis of Titan and everything like that. That little machine.
It's like a space compass.
they're
Probably not
called
that smart.
moon walkie-talkies.
Which also makes me wonder if Titan was destroyed by starvation, like Thanos said it was, or did he do something to the planet?
Thanos wouldn't lie to us.
Yeah. He's not.
Right, he said that to Gamora, didn't he? He's like, generosity, me, like kindness, me, lying. You didn't learn that from me, therefore you are not good at it. I'm like, oh dang.
Yeah, that was awesome. I think that Peter Dinklage, that was actually my second minor negative with this movie. He did kind of seem like he was acting like a caricature a little bit. I thought the visual effects were astonishing. Like, it was amazing what they were able to do. They definitely took that Lord of the Rings technology and finally did a one up on it, and they stepped up, and they got it stepped up.
They got a dwarf to play a dwarf that lives on a dwarf star, and he dwarfs everyone else.
It's pretty incredible. But yeah, I mean, I was kind of underwhelmed with his performance. I was wanting a little bit more of what he gave us in X-Men Days of Future Past, just that extra umph of
Acting.
yeah, well, I guess just being a little bit more serious, like that line with him being like, yes,
No,
that will
stop,
kill
it'll
you, or
kill
yeah, that is
you.
what killing is.
And he's like, only if I die. Yeah, that's what killing you means.
That was like the one good thing, and I wanted it to just kind of stay there, but then he kept kind of being like this. I don't know.
I felt Peter Dinklage played his role very well, especially a surprise role such as that. In the theater I watched it at, somebody from the audience was just like, "Are you kidding me?" or something like that, like just out of utter disbelief, or just like they were not, they for some reason they just really don't like Peter Dinklage or whatever.
Yeah,
but I thought that was
well,
hilarious.
I think it's because he was playing a kind of this caricature of his character from Game of Thrones. That's how I kind of took it too.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's kind of well. I mean, it's Thor. It's Thor kind of mythology, or Thor universe kind of level. So I'm sure there's that those two circles cross somewhere. That Venn diagram has an intersection.
Yeah, that scene, the whole side quest, like Tim was saying later on, it was just a bit too long. What with the whole like, we gotta restart it. He was like, you're out there in space. There's nothing that your muscular arms can do. And he's like, well, I'm gonna throw your spaceship around and unhook the rings, and then oh no, that thing broke, and now I gotta do this, and now I'm dead.
All that part was fine. It was just like, I guess it was just, it didn't flow well with the back and forth, because if you think about it, if it did really take long, I mean, this wasn't stuff happening that on top of each other. It was, let me first get it started, and then now it's working, but then it broke, so then I stand in it, and then it's good again, but then we need the handle part, and then it got fixed, and then boom, here I'm on it. It doesn't sound like they did a lot, but for the whole movie, I mean, that's basically all they were doing.
Yeah, totally worth it at the end, definitely, to come down onto with the Bifrost and just have it being chucked around like that.
Yeah,
amazing.
But he did that with kind of Mjolnir. I mean,
yeah, but this is bigger now, and it's an axe.
Oh, okay.
And it can do the Bifrost by itself.
And it can impale Thanos.
Well,
it's a shame he didn't go for that face, though.
Or the arm. He could have gone for the arm.
He didn't go for One-Eyed Willie. Oh, wait, that's a different universe.
No, somebody call him One-Eye Willie, right? Oh, no.
I'm joking. Yeah,
I know. Well, I can't wait for that movie to happen. Avengers versus X-Men.
Can you imagine, though, if Thor had taken Thanos' eye, been like, boom, that's what it feels like, son?
I'm going to shove this eye that's been in a raccoon's butt. Just shove it in your head. How's that feel? That's how you see from now on.
Now, Steven, it's actually been in a bunny's butt. I thought that was hilarious that he kept calling him Bunny. All right. Now hand me that over there, Bunny. Or Rabbit. What was it? It was Rabbit.
It was Rabbit. Yeah. Drax kind of stayed the same throughout the movie. He didn't really have a character development. He was just like, although it was kind of hypocritical of Star-Lord.
I thought it was pretty interesting. We got to see him get a new power in this movie.
A new power?
Yeah. When he like turned invisible, I thought that was like crazy.
Okay. All right. I knew you were taking that somewhere. I was like, where's he taking this? This is a joke. Oh my gosh. No, I will say, even though he didn't have a character arc, I don't know why, but this was my favorite characterization of Drax from Batista, because I feel like in the other movies it was all just like tongue in cheek and oh yeah, he's all literal and stuff, but this one I thought they nailed it down pretty well. It was a nice balance, I guess.
Well, I was gonna say, what with the in the place of nowhere when they were fighting Thanos, and then everybody was just ignoring Star-Lord, and then he's like, "For my wife and child," and you're like, "Oh snap, he's gone for it!" And then later on, Star-Lord, I mean, I was going to say Star-Lord was like, no, not yet. We got to get the Infinity Stone first. Then we're going to kill him. I'm like, hey, Star-Lord, how about you listen to your own advice? You know, he lost his wife and child. You lost your girlfriend who didn't really like you in the first 2 movies. Not everything is about you and how you have to hit the guy who killed your girlfriend. I mean, Dave Bautista definitely should have had it more coming.
Which, now that I think about it, Thanos came so close on several times, or several occasions of getting like nearly stabbed. Like first it was Loki, then it was Drax, and then finally Thor nailed him. But he didn't get his. Too. Did Gamora? Oh yeah. I really just wanted him to get. I've never wanted a character to get stabbed so much. I was like, somebody get this guy. Yeah, and even when Thor did it, it wasn't enough. I was like, so hopefully in Avengers 4.
How does Stormbreaker come back to Thor? Is that like just a power of the dwarves?
Yeah.
They didn't really say anything. But yeah, definitely appreciated it. Let's see. So they got to Asgard, Hulk came to Earth, Doctor Strange came to Spider-Man. We didn't talk about Spider-Man.
I thought it was a great representation of the character. And I think it summed up even just from like the first scene we see him in. All of a sudden, there's this big alien space ring out in the middle of the city. We get to see more spider sense confirmed, kind of, power from Peter, and then the main aspect I was trying to highlight was that he didn't really stop and think about what he should do or something like that. He immediately was like, I need to take action, I need to head over there, and I need to help out. So like it showed how great his sense of duty and his heroism is able to, be such a focal point in a young kid. I thought was just really great off the bat. Yeah, and throughout the movie he did really good as well. I mean,
a little bit too much pop culture references for me from Spider-Man. I mean, I like the Aliens one. I
was gonna say they did an Aliens reference on Alien Day.
Right, when we saw it on the 26th.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, just like too much. He was like, hey, in case I eat your face and lay eggs in you, I'm like, gross. Sick. Don't do that. I mean, the first one was funny, but just so many pop culture references from the kid. I mean, his acting was great, the way he was being Spider-Man, and he was looking out after everybody else, even though they did try to kill him just earlier. He was like, I got you. I'm like, that dude had a gun pointed at your head not 5 seconds ago, I think. It just really just shows.
Yeah, I thought Spider-Man was good. I don't think he exceeded my expectations. I feel like
he was consistent, which is great because, and he definitely wasn't bad in Homecoming, and he didn't get any worse since then. So
no, yeah, I know. He just kind of stayed, I guess just above average. I feel like Homecoming was his peak from thus far. Civil War would probably be second for me, and then this would be third. I thought the other thing that he somewhat suffered from, I don't want to blame his performance or anything too much for it, but it was the CGI suit for me. The visual effects overall were fantastic. Like I already said, Thanos was amazing. Peter Dinklage's character was fantastic as far as visual effects go and everything. But Spider-Man's suit and Approxima Midnight, I think, were the two weakest things for me, at least.
Absolutely.
I was trying to get over it, and I mean, I guess I did get over it because overall I enjoyed the movie, so I must have gotten over it at some point. But every now and then I did find myself looking at his suit and getting a little distracted.
You know, their little. I just didn't understand how Iron Man was like, "Here, what's your take on this situation, Spider-Man?" Like, he's just a kid, and you're in an alien spaceship with a wizard and a preacher alien for a guy who's gonna kill the half of humanity. Why don't you take this one, Iron Man? Why don't you get the ball rolling? Are you talking about giving it to like a 16-year-old kid? Get it? He's an unofficial Avenger slash official Avenger, but still. But yeah, him and the cloak of levitation, it died later on, but the whole like mimicking of Robert Downey Jr.'s performance when Tony and him were talking.
Wait, are we talking about Tony again, or?
Well, I was just talking about how Peter and Tony's relationship worked out.
Oh yeah, it definitely picked up where we left off, which I thought was great. I didn't even realize that there was sort of like a callback, or not a callback, but a reference in Homecoming, a sort of foreshadow to Spider-Man dying, which I didn't even realize. I read that actually today or yesterday. I forgot when. So it was like 2 days after I saw the movie a second time. Yeah, like in Homecoming, Tony and Peter are talking, and he's like, I can't let you die because then that's on me. So with this movie now, oh my God, like, yeah, with Spider-Man dying, like, I can't even imagine the ramifications that's going to have on Tony's psyche in Avengers 4.
Yeah, the man's already broken.
I was gonna say, speaking of that, it really pays homage to what was said in Age of Ultron, when Tony has that one-on-one with Nick Fury in the barn, and he says, you think the worst part would be that all my friends died, and he said, no, the worst part was that I didn't. So that kind of came to fruition. Yeah. That came kind of to fruition here.
Wow, I totally forgot about that line too.
Well, especially
you just gave me goosebumps.
Especially the way how Spider-Man died, which I'm kind of upset about, because everybody kind of got a one word, like, oh no, look out, I don't feel so good. And then Falcon got nothing. He was just like, Sam, where are you, Sam? I was like, all right, Sam's going to say something. And then he disappeared. I'm like, okay. And then Black Panther was like, okay, it's not a good place to die. I'm like, okay, a sentence. And then Peter, Spider-Man got a whole paragraph, a whole Shakespearean opera scene where he's like, my heart, it's gone out. I'm fluttering like the dust of the wind on this Titan's moon. And you're like, easy, kid. You're just die like everybody else. Speed it up. Nah, have like an Oscar-winning performance. Hold me, Mr. Stark. No, okay. No, we're going to sit on this rock together. Hold me. I don't want to go. I think I see the light beyond yonder. All right. How about you start walking toward it? Because we got like 30 minutes left in this movie. So we got to wrap it up. God. Falcon, nothing. Falcon got snubbed on that.
Well, as far as Falcon's death, I feel like it wasn't Anthony Mackie's fault. For me, it was Don Cheadle. I was totally distracted by Don Cheadle looking everywhere but in front of his own feet. I hate it when movies do, or I guess movies.
The man's got 12-foot wings. He's right there.
Yeah, he's right there in front. Why are you looking at these trees? He's not stuck in a tree. I mean, Jesus, he's not that He's not an actual bird.
All right, so Tony and Spider-Man and Doctor Strange go on a planet. They go on a big donut. They fly to Titan. Cutscene. Man, there's too many cutscenes for me to keep track of this movie. Cut to Thor and the Guardians. They start talking about whether or not. Oh, we got the whole, which is probably to me the most funniest scene, is Drax saying like, "No, you're a dude. This," and he's talking about Thor is a man. That whole like scene where they're like just appreciating Thor and his muscularity. I'm like, oh, dude, yeah, not everybody says it, but yeah, you gotta appreciate it.
Star-Lord, you're one sandwich away from being fat.
Yeah, Star-Lord. Why don't you go ruin another galaxy? Oh wait, you already did. Half of humanity's gone. Thanks, Star-Lord.
I think the moment that we need to get to also is when we finally arrive at Wakanda. And it comes on screen. Everybody was like clapping at that part. Because all we had was like space. Like you said, we had Scotland. It was like all these places nobody really cared for. We were like, all right, are we going to get, what was it? What was Spider-Man's Brooklyn, right?
Yeah.
Are we going to get like anything cool? And then
Queens. He's in Queens.
Yeah, Queens. That's what it was. Are we going to get anything good? And then boom, we got Wakanda.
Yeah, I mean, they just came into Wakanda. I mean, I thought you needed a vibranium ship to get into Wakanda, but apparently not. To break through the force field. I mean, how did they even radio in? It didn't seem like they radioed in. Steve was like, yeah, this is the way I came before. But were you with somebody else? Yeah, I was with everybody else, the guy Black Panther. But no, go ahead and drive through the force field that may or may not be on. I'm like, did anybody radio in? Could you just show Black Widow with a headset? Be like, yeah, no, we're good. I talked to this woman. She said we're fine. I'm like, okay, cool.
Maybe Bucky had the shields like off for if it scanned like a Quinjet or something.
Oh, the guy who was living on a farm with no arm. No, here, you're in charge of the gate, White Wolf. Come on, White Wolf. Let's go.
Speaking of which, I was happy that, they gave him his arm or whatever. But anyway, I was somewhat disappointed that Shuri wasn't the one that gave Iron Man his new fancy suit. Because wasn't it reminiscent of Black Panther's suit, the way it kind of had the nanotech and it form-fitted itself over his face and everything. It was really similar to both, not only Black Panther, but also Star-Lord's mask. So, I mean, I guess it's plausible that he made it by himself, but I thought it would have been kind of cool.
I definitely saw hints of Guardians in there, especially when they kill Ebony Maw, and then Iron Man seals up the tear with that kind of like spray we see Rocket use in Guardians 2.
Oh, yeah, to fix the ship.
Yeah. And then also reminded me a little bit of Age of Ultron, where they use that Vision / Dr. Cho tech when they use to patch up Hawkeye from getting hurt, and then he uses it on himself when Thanos stabs him.
Oh yeah, it basically made tissue, or yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, those parts were cool. I don't think I saw any relation to Black Panther, but that whole scene where he just goes all out on Thanos, all for a drop of blood, that was just like really awesome.
Right. I mean, the suit I think was kind of OP for me, and his little fire extinguisher of nanites. I mean, I don't get how you can fix an alien spaceship an alien spaceship that you've never seen before, be like, nah, I got the material, just let me fix this hole. And you're like, okay, why isn't Doctor Strange dead? He was like outside of space for like more than 3 seconds. He probably should be dead too. I mean,
well, you know, magic and stuff. But I did appreciate that with Iron Man's tech and him sealing that hole in the ship, that they did they obviously made it 2 different color metals, and they also made his patch or seal kind of like a clump. Like it wasn't even close to wanting to bond with the ship. They were totally, completely different alloys or elements.
all right, so let's see. Yeah, Wakanada. Yeah, we're going back to Wakanada. We got a little sidetracked, but yeah, Wakanada, the fight scene, the whole gathering the Earth's mightiest heroes, a paralyzed War Machine, and Hulk that does nothing.
Yeah, well, we talked about that, but I mean, once again, Marvel being masters of weaving things, seeding things. We get all the characters we remember from, we know and love from Black Panther. Like we get Okoye back, M'Baku. I didn't see the general of the other tribe. I can't remember the tribe's name, but
Border tribe.
What's that?
The Border tribe.
Yeah, the Border tribe. There you go.
Yeah. Well, she said what was left of them. So
okay, because I don't think he didn't die though. That the guy from Get Out.
No, but I'm sure he's in prison.
Okay, yeah, probably. I didn't think about that. Right, he committed treason. That's right.
I mean, technically, he didn't.
He kind of did. I'm just kidding. Anyway, but yeah, we got all of that, and I love, the callback to the chanting we got of M'Baku's tribe, and then we also got Wakanda. We didn't get our Avengers Assemble, but we got Wakanda Forever. I think it's the same amount of syllables if I'm good at math. So, yeah, it was still satisfying.
Right. The part I really loved in M'Baku, even his one line of dialogue in this movie, but just the fact that Black Panther was like, "Thanks for fighting with us." He's like, "Of course, brother." I'm like, this guy's supposed to be a villain, and yet you're making him really, really awesome, guys. He's supposed to be like Black Panther's main villain, and yet you're like calling him brothers and stuff, which is great, and I love it, and I hope they don't change it. But I just wouldn't expect that from a character like that in the comics. But just goes to show how quickly Marvel can switch things up for the better.
Yeah, well, and as the old saying goes, the enemy of my enemy.
Yeah.
But the one character that we need to talk about, and it's probably the last character we need to talk about because it's the only character we need to talk about, is Thanos. Dear God. This was his movie.
Yeah, I was going to mention something, but if this is the last character, I'll wait till after this.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I was going to say Thanos might take a while. I was going to say, was there any, since you guys did a lot of predictions, I know, throughout our different episodes, what were your guys' theories and predictions, and how were they wrong, or, were you right about any of them? I didn't hear any of that stuff, so.
I thought that Heimdall was the Soul Stone because of him being able to teleport Thor in Thor Ragnarok, but it turns out he's just using dark magic a lot, so he's just doing that.
Wait, Heimdall was the Soul Stone?
Yeah, Heimdall was the Soul Stone. Like, it's like in him, like not like he's like a walking, talking Soul Stone, but just he's fused with it, I should say. The other part that I got wrong, I guess, was that all the villains were in the Infinity Stones. But then I kind of was right. The Red Skull didn't die, and it makes me hope that nobody else didn't really die yet. So there's that. Based on a Funko Pop, I thought Hulk was going to bust out of the Hulkbuster armor, which it turns out that no, he's just... I just didn't like how Bruce Banner can take out a member of the Black Order with just a glove dragging him across an indestructible force field.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, when I say it out loud, it sounds like it works, but dang, this guy's supposed to be all powerful.
You know, it would have been great if he would have only half hulked out when he lost the Hulkbuster arm, and we just saw a giant green arm just sticking out of Hulkbuster.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, like every one of my theories was wrong. Yeah, and it was wrong. I was wrong in a good way, not in a bad way, like how I was with The Last Jedi. I still like that movie. But anyway, I'm surprised that the Russos didn't have a what do you call it? A little quip like how The Last Jedi had. Your Snoke theory sucked. They should have had your Snap theory sucked, because all of the people I thought were going to die ended up surviving. Like I thought Iron Man was going to be the first to go, and they kind of pulled a bait and switch on us. He gets stabbed, and I was like, oh my God, this is it. Yep, this is the exact scene I saw in the trailer that I figured this was going to be where he was exiting. And
which would have been great. It would have been great if he exited. I wasn't like, oh, you know what I need? More Iron Man. I definitely need more Iron Man. Nobody in history said that.
And my other theory was obviously the Heimdall theory. I thought he was going to live. I thought he would either, if the Asgardians had lived as well, I thought he was either going to become the new rightful king of Asgard, because he was clearly the only one protecting those people in Ragnarok. I thought that would have been really cool. My other theory, what was it? Oh, about the Soul Stone. My Soul Stone theory was that it was buried in Wakanda, and that's where the little those poppy flowers or whatever kind of weird space flowers
heart-shaped herb.
Yeah. I thought that's where they were growing from, and that's the same sort of soul realm that T'Challa entered in the Black Panther movie when he visited his father beyond the veil.
Oh, the ancestral plane.
Yeah, ancestral plane.
Wow, you guys are...
Well, I was just
terrible.
calling it that. That's
no. Your guys' theories in general.
The theories are terrible. Yeah. In retrospect, they are.
I was gonna say, you mentioned The Last Jedi, and what I feel like is something I felt like a lot of people were, trying to wrap their heads around, about not liking The Last Jedi. And the main complaint I heard was that it had too many characters. It split up into too many different storylines happening in too many different locations simultaneously, and it just ending up feeling very disconnected. Whereas Infinity War almost does the same thing, yet it's almost universally loved. So what is it that Infinity War does that The Last Jedi couldn't do?
Well, I think it all goes back to the time we live in with the internet, people being so prolific about, fan theories and what they think should happen. I think people forget to judge things based on what they're given. I think with Avengers Infinity War, they either didn't know what to expect, or you had the people like us that read a lot of the source material, and we kind of knew some possibilities, or, the sort of general idea of where they could take it if they wanted to, if they so choose. So I think Infinity War was definitely more open Like nobody really knew where they were going to take it. Whereas with The Last Jedi, we had this Snoke guy, we had this girl named Rey that they kind of, hyped up in the previous films. So it was more self-contained. Hence, the theories were also more self-contained. They weren't as wild and all over the place. And so people were expecting a certain thing. They were expecting to not only be right about what they wanted, but they, wanted things to go a certain way. And when things don't do that, they get upset. And I think that is unfair, but I get that people have a right to their own opinion. And I mean, I can't say whether or not those theories been true about The Last Jedi. Could it have been a better film? I don't know. I can't say.
I was gonna say a little bit there, like you were mentioning with where everything kind of comes from. Um, I know how you mentioned that some people didn't know what to expect from Infinity War, whereas people read the comics. I would say on the other end, I mean, there are people who are, you know, big Marvel fans, but they're Marvel Cinematic Universe fans. I mean, if you've been following the MCU since, Iron Man, then you know what's up with each of these characters. You know their backstories. You know their ideals. You know what their personalities are and what they do and what they wouldn't do and all that kind of stuff. Whereas in the Last Jedi, we for the characters revolving around the main storyline, we needed more backstory on a lot of them. I mean,
I didn't see The Last Jedi yet, so I don't know how to answer this.
Well, you can leave the room. I'm just kidding.
it felt like I mean, it's very similar in the sense that you had multiple people everywhere kind of doing different things. Um, where you have Finn and Rose doing something, you have Poe, and what's the other guy's name? Holdo? What's his name?
I don't know.
Holdo? I don't.
Holdo was the uh, female character. I'm pretty sure.
Right. And yeah, and Poe. That's right.
Yeah, Poe was the dude.
Yeah. And then you have Rey also doing her thing, and it's kind of like they're all doing their own thing. They're not they This doesn't really interact with each other. Whereas you have Iron Man on Titan with some of the Guardians and Spider-Man. You have Thor on whatever that planet was called, Planet Dinklage. Um, and then you had Cap and everybody else on Earth, and they were all doing something related to a plan.
Yeah, you definitely have a good point because
I think.
they were all kind of working towards the same goal. Even with uh, Thor, like how you said, it was a little bit drawn out. He was still working towards defeating
Yeah,
Thanos.
yeah. I mean, they definitely hyped up Stormbreaker, which I mean, I figured was going to be the kind of the next step when Mjolnir kind of blew up, and then like Infinity was coming out. I figured I was like, okay, well, you know what would be cool if they did Stormbreaker, but at the same time, I was like, what would also be another cool thing to do? Beta Ray Bill.
Well, it sounds like they're definitely not doing a Beta Ray Bill anymore because
Yeah,
this
they kind
is
of
the
went the
key weapon.
yeah, they kind of went the Ultimate Thor route, where Ultimate Thor has the axe and the things and all that. Which, don't get me wrong, I mean that's good enough. I didn't. If I could have either Thor, Ultimate Thor, kind of using Stormbreaker versus Beta Ray Bill, kind of using Stormbreaker, I mean, I'd take either one. And Thor did an awesome job in this movie. I mean, guy's a positive thinking machine. Uh, just does what he wants. Beautiful pirate angel baby man.
I mean, he could have also not only have built Stormbreaker, but he could have formed the Thor Corps We could have got Beta Ray Bill, Lady Thor. Just get all the Thors.
You mean Lady Sif?
Yeah.
Because so far, Lady Sif is still alive. She's out there in Cosmos somewhere.
Yeah, she's gonna come back with an eye patch and like a haircut.
So Thanos, the main bad guy.
Yeah, sorry for diverting. That was another big kind of movie that had a lot of the same elements, yet somehow ended up on the other end of the spectrum for criticism.
No, yeah, that's good though. I think we wrapped up. I think that was a nice bow on top of the, whole package. It tied everything nicely together.
Yeah. If you have different opinions or thoughts about The Last Jedi and its comparison to Infinity War, please let us know in the comments. Tell us how we're wrong.
But yes, Thanos.
That guy,
Man.
This guy sure likes his bubbles.
Don't F with his bubbles. My favorite scene by far was the flashback scene, and he gives Gamora the knife.
For a good portion of the movie, I thought the Soul Stone was going to be in that knife.
Yeah, I know. I was kind of, in the back of my mind, I was thinking that too, and I'm so glad it wasn't. But yeah, in the background of that scene, we have Ebony Maw giving the orders to execute half of her people. And for like a split second, she tries to glance, and he's like, no, concentrate. And I was like, oh my God, this guy's a monster. I think that scene really gave you an idea of just how he is the Mad Titan. He is insane.
Right. We also got a lot into his backstory of him and Gamora throughout growing up of Gamora's life, where she was like, I hate this throne room and I hated this room. I'm like, what is this room? What is this throne room? What's this giant ship we're on? Is this like your control tower to destroy half of the world? It was definitely a lot of questions that I wanted answered based on his story. It was just amazing. Not only how Josh Brolin, it basically is Thanos, just his face, his neck muscles, just like the hair on his cheeks, were just every day. I mean, like, man, it was just awesome. It felt like Thanos was actually a real person and not a guy in makeup. They like just called him down. Was like, hey, can you be in our movie? It's like, sure.
Yeah. Did y'all notice that when he did the first snap, when he was just talking about doing a snap, his like freaking shoulder muscle and bicep flexed first before he lifted up his hand and actually snapped his fingers? I was like, Jesus. He could probably like snap somebody's neck by just snapping his fingers.
Makes me want to learn about Nebula's story. If like she snuck onto a ship and like he didn't really even want her, or maybe it was a gift to Gamora. Because he said
I think it might be a very similar situation. The thing is that she's kind of like the younger sister, where she was like the second pickup, the second souvenir. So like, it was more of an impact with Gamora because, that was like, oh, I'm the first one. But then it kind of went down the same way as Nebula did, And then even by then, he's more of a harsh ruler because every time he pitted them against each other, he tried to make her better because,
Right.
Well, and Gamora also, every time he's killed, even in the first Guardians movie, when he does some of the things he does or says, she always gets this look on her face. She never says anything, but she always gets this look on her face, and I think that takes Thanos back to that time when she was a little girl. And yeah, I mean, he's probably reminded, and now he's most definitely reminded constantly of not just taking her life, but all of the other lives he's taken.
Is that is the same way he got Gamora, I should say, got Gamora. He adopted Gamora. Uh, is that how he got the Black Order? Like one by one?
Yeah, because he said you are also a child of Thanos. So it's
Okay.
just like all the children he picked up over the years and raised them to be warriors.
Which I kind of figured because, I mean, obviously none of them share any similarities.
Well, no, I didn't think they were his actual like children or anything like that. I just didn't know if they were like, yeah, we hang with Thanos. He's pretty cool. Like they were kind of just like join the cause versus were they taken as like kids and then
I see what you're saying.
raised? Yeah.
Right, because in Guardians of the Galaxy, when we were introduced to Ronan, he said Thanos gave two of his children to Ronan as ambassadors and also as muscle.
Yeah, Gamora Nebula. Gotcha.
But yeah, this movie, I mean, it gave us once again another Empire Strikes Back moment. We get this amazing villain, and instead of "I am your father," he doesn't even have to say anything. He just has to lift his hands and snap his fingers, and he is the victor. He comes out on top. I mean, this is the first movie in a really, 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 really long time where the bad guy wins.
Which is weird if you think about it because I don't think you can snap in a gauntlet.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking about that going into the movie. I was like, how are they going to do that? I mean, the more I've had time to think about it after seeing the movie, I'm like, he has the reality stone, so he can make bubbles, he can make, sounds, I guess.
I mean, it doesn't really have to be a snap. He could just will it to happen as well. They just wanted it to be comic accurate. The thing I have a problem with Thanos is that his ambition is kind of too real. Like he's like, yeah, our resources of this universe is finite, and our people are growing too numerous in order to keep up at it. So we got to kill half of everybody, and that's the solution, though. I mean, there's like no other way. There's no like growing crops, getting solar power energy.
Why? Well, I mean, with the Infinity Stone, he could probably create a whole nother planet, or pull a Jeebus and just make a bunch of food for everybody.
That's true, but like in his own sick mind, like he was right. And I kind of agree with him. That's the problem. And I'm afraid that other people are going to agree with him and take this a little too far. They're like, yeah, we got to kill half of the world. And you're like, no, hold up. This guy is wrong. Like they never really showed that he was entirely wrong per se.
Well, they didn't show he was right either.
That's true. I mean, we would have to wait till Avengers 4 to see the ramifications of that. But we kind of did get to see how.
Well, the other thing we have to wait and see is that throne room scene that got hinted way back in when did Tony have his vision? I think it was Avengers 2, Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
We still haven't got that throne room scene, which is from, the comics. I still think it's going to happen in Avengers 4. And they showed us in this movie, they showed us the chair that he sits in. They showed us the throne. They're hinting towards it. I know it's going to come along with that Avengers Assemble. We got to get it.
Yeah, I mean, Avengers 4 is probably the biggest Avengers movie gonna be besides this one. I mean, the way they're going it, if you look back
I think we're not going to get any of that kind of resolution stuff until Avengers 5.
Yeah, but
Whoa, Avengers 5?
Yeah, Avengers 4 is going to be the setup. I mean,
again,
we're going to yeah. Because
No.
they're going to have to figure out what to do they're gonna have to figure out what happened, what to do, how they're gonna do it, and then.
Well, this movie proved though that they can move pretty fast.
No, yeah, I agree, but I don't think we're gonna get any of that stuff until Avengers 5.
I don't know. I think they kept the OGs alive because they want them to lead the next film, somehow revert everything. I don't know if that's going to involve Captain Marvel. And then, again, this movie was all about sacrifice. We've talked about it in the before. A lot of people have already talked about that online. I have a feeling that the OGs are gonna sacrifice themselves and pave the way for new Avengers.
Right. I think their contracts too as actors, they only survive Avengers 4 before they're given up. Which I'm glad you brought up about the end credit scene of Captain Marvel from a rinky-dinky old pager. Flash bomb.
Wait, pagers aren't still cool?
No, they're not.
Oh man, I didn't get that fax. Nobody faxed me that, guys. What are you guys talking about?
How do you think Captain Marvel is going to fit into the MCU? Because first of all, where did he send it? An underground bunker or a satellite? But where is she hiding? Didn't she see the spaceships come into orbit?
I think maybe Captain Marvel will somewhat fill the role of Adam Warlock.
But we'll have a character named Adam Warlock.
But not yet. And I think that's a key factor. And I think, well, I mean, they're definitely going to keep Adam Warlock the way Adam Warlock is. But, like, this will be more of his kind of first appearance kind of adventure. And they'll probably go into that whole other, like, what's it called? Anti-world or wherever he's from or wherever he hangs out. And kind of keep it in that corner of his story. Whereas Captain Marvel, she's just going to fill his kind of place in the Infinity Gauntlet kind of storyline. And, you know, especially I feel like if they up her toward binary level, then that's when it's going to be like, okay, I think this would be a sufficient replacement.
Right. I kind of want a Ghost Rider in the next film as well. If we could get Ghost Rider, that'd be awesome.
I really hope that the other thing, as far as Captain Marvel goes, sorry, Steven, I don't mean to cover over your Ghost Rider thing, but
please do.
I mean,
no, let's forget about
it. Yeah, let's going back to Captain Marvel. I do kind of hope, and again, this might just be wishful thinking, that another thing that they compartmentalize with her character is I wouldn't mind entirely if she is an Eternal, because they have said before in the past that they were going to kind of retrofit her backstory because it's a little similar to Green Lantern, which I agree. So I would not mind at all if she not only takes the place of Adam Warlock, like what you were saying, Tim, but if she is the leader of the Eternals and she takes the place of Icarus, because I mean, they kind of look similar already. They both wear red, yellow, and blue. I mean, I'm not trying to, I guess, typecast this character, if you will, but I'm doing it. I'm doing it anyway. And I think it would be a pretty cool thing on Marvel's part to have, you know, a female lead a team of her own. So her being the leader of the Eternals could be a very cool possibility. I don't know if they're going to do it. I just hope they can do it just to tie in. I think that would be the last thread, you know, that would be the last thread for the Celestials to come in. Maybe they're the ones that take away the Infinity Stones. I don't know. I'm going off a tangent now, but what do you guys think about that?
That it was a tangent, and I don't deal with tangents. Ever since the Russo Brothers, man, I can't take anything for granted. Everything I see is a lie until I sit my butt into a theater then I'll know it to be true. But man, I mean, I think I'm with Tim is that trailers and spoilers don't even matter, because if directors can lie to us, then anything's possible, you know? They could be like, yeah, Internals, yeah, it's coming out next month, I think. And then it's, 20 years later, you hear nothing. I can't.
Jeremy Renner, he's totally in this film. He's got a huge part in it. That's literally what the Russo brothers said in an interview. I'm not getting upset at them. I know I sound angry, but
I don't like being lied to. But I was just thinking about where Captain Marvel could be, and she could be stuck in time, like stuck in a dimensional place, like Tim was saying, Maker with Adam Warlock. And she's constantly fighting Skrulls, maybe? But when
maybe she's stuck in a prison like Hela. She can't escape until somebody dies.
Well, then a lot of people have died, because as soon as Nick Fury saw a helicopter crash, he was like, "Code Red, red alert, time to get our, A-star hero that we've been saving for 19 movies, because I haven't taken her out since then." I'm like, yeah, dude, what? There's a freaking helicopter crash. Calm down. You didn't even see Hill disappear yet. Wait, did he? He might have. I don't know. But I'm just saying, like, I think he overreacted, but in a good way, because we're about to get Captain Marvel, a huge part of the Marvel franchise, obviously, based on her name.
Should we wrap up to final thoughts?
Absolutely. This is it. 19th movie. 19th rating. This is it. I have no more room.
We made it. I'm not dead inside.
I am. I've been dead since Thursday, so you know how that feels. Been crying at work. That hasn't been good. Nobody wants that.
People keep asking me why I keep excusing myself to the restroom, and I'm like, I saw Avengers Infinity War.
Sorry, tears. Guys. Constant tears.
I'm sorry.
All right,
Tim, who's going first?
Yeah, who wants to start crying first?
I can go.
Okay.
All right. Here I go. I'm gonna do it. This movie's really good. There's a lot of, things that you can pick up throughout this movie. It balances humor and the seriousness of it all very well. It's very, as you've noticed throughout this whole podcast, it's so difficult to put into words, because this film feels like a comic book event. There's no other way of putting it. You have to experience it yourself. There really isn't anything like it. It's a really good film. Marvel isn't afraid of pulling their punches. They're not afraid of having our heroes defeated. All in order for us to have a great, well-developed villain. And also for a great story. Because right when you first watch it, I definitely was one of those few people that was just dumbstruck and, kind of frustrated even. But over time, you enjoy it for what it is. Like, this is a great, you wouldn't change anything really. I think the big part for me was that there are moments in this film where again, it truly just solidifies this as comic book come to life. For me, I think maybe that was the, you know, one of the larger fights was Thanos and versus the Avengers on Titan. Especially, you know, times where, you know, it was a reveal of a new character or an old character, such as like Peter Dinklage or Red Skull. Like, it's just such a rush of nostalgia from when you're reading a comic, and then all of a sudden, you know, there's a crossover event or this character's back into the story, and it's made that this tale so much richer. They didn't have to do things, but they did. You know, they didn't really have to do certain parts to the script or the writing or the dialogue or anything like that, but they do it, and it makes the movie better for it, for when they give you that, again, fan service within a movie where it ultimately robs you of such a large part of the fandom. Yeah, I would have to say this movie's I guess it narrows it down to, and you know, I want you guys to answer this question when you guys do your reviews. Was it worth the 10 years? Is it worth the 19 movies, the 10 years? You know, just is it worth it? And I think so, yeah. So I think this movie definitely gets a 6 out of 6 for me.
All right, are y'all ready for this?
Yep.
Okay, so remember that time 45 minutes ago when I totally forgot my thought and I was like, hey, what were we talking about before the Soul Stone? And then I completely forgot, and then there was awkward dead silence like immediately afterwards. Well, guess what? Now I remember. Tim was talking about Gamora being or taking the place of death, and I was thinking to myself, that while I was watching the movie, that final shot with Thanos and Gamora and little baby Gamora slowly turns her face. I actually I was thinking to myself, yeah, when she's asked what did it cost, and he says everything. I was, for a split second, I was like, oh my God, her face is totally going to disintegrate away and she's going to be a skeleton.
Oh, that would have been good.
I was thinking that. Okay, now, with that said, also, remember that time
horrifying.
11 movies ago when we were watching Black Panther and then Tim did his review for Black Panther? Well, guess what? I'm going to call back to it right now because all I got to say is, you ready for it? 6 out of 6. 6 out of 6, guys. I already forgot the number. 19 movies? What is this? 18 movies?
19.
Yeah, this is 19.
Oh my God. My dad and I were talking about that because of course, I saw it with my family, like any other event film, and we were talking about it. That Thanos, and I don't care if this gets people all riled up because I will tell you right now, I'm the biggest Star Wars fan, biggest Star Wars nut. I will go into all kinds of theories and everything, and I will talk about the Bendu and Grey Jedi and whatever you want to do. The Wills. I'm all about that, okay? So don't fight. If you want to fight me, go ahead. Do it. I dare you. I double dare you. But all I got to say is my dad and I were talking, and we were saying that Thanos has done what no other villain has done before. He has taken the throne away from Vader. Vader is no longer the greatest cinematic villain. It is now Thanos. And here's why. Not only did he come out on top, but we didn't need any prequel movie to understand his character. We got all the exposition and backstory we needed. Once again, I go back to that scene of him taking Gamora and saying, no, concentrate. Oh my God, I get goosebumps every time I talk about that scene. I mean, he is the Mad Titan. He's insane, but also he's like methodical about everything, and he knows what he's doing. and he does it anyway. And he sacrifices, the one person he loves, and it's insane. And this whole movie is insane, and the ending is insane. And I don't even know what to expect for Avengers 4. I'm done trying to speculate. I know I've made a lot of speculations throughout this whole review, but I'm done because this movie, they can do anything. They've proved it, and I don't even care. I don't even care about the DCEU anymore. And I know that's going to shock you guys because I defended it for so long. I was there. I was defending Batman v Superman, but no, I do not care. All right? Y'all suck. Y'all can try to do Flashpoint if you want. That's great. Whatever. I'll watch Shazam. Yeah, okay. But, you should have taken the time. You should have taken the time to appreciate the characters you have, because this proves that it pays off, not only in fan service, in story, arc and everything, but also in dollar bills. It pays off in dollar bills. So if you want that money, then you got to invest. You got to invest the time. You got to invest the love, the appreciation. You got to look at those comic books. You got to actually read those comic books. And wow. I think that's everything. I think I did it.
Yeah, I was gonna mention again, just adding on about how this movie just proves that Marvel Studios is willing to, this is the nail in the coffin. This is them shifting into 12th gear. If you're not familiar with the whole kind of idea and the start behind the Marvel Cinematic Universe, a good way to get caught up on that kind of this whole plan, this whole beginning, this whole era, I would
Agents
say.
of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Well, no.
I'm just kidding.
I meant not like in universe, but more of like out of universe. About how did this idea of creating a bunch of comic book movies get to this point where we're at right now? I would definitely highly suggest going to Toy Galaxy, where their main guy, Dan Larson, talks about the history of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and that helps out you understand the gravity of it all. I was explaining to a lot of people on how, that they were kind of taking a gamble on, basically everything in the beginning, and for them to come out, I think way before there was, these are the reasons why we do trailer breakdowns. We never dissected trailers as much as we do now, because it's all connected. There's that we have to find out the secrets and the Easter eggs, and we have to, find out which parts are coming from the comics and all that kind of stuff. That started with this, the post-credit stuff. That's all started with this. Like, they've done so many firsts. They've broken so many records that to get to this point where they're at, to know where they started from, it really puts things into perspective.
Great. All right. Dan Larson at Toy Galaxy does great videos. I watch him too as well. All right. I guess it's my turn to give my last final thought of the Watchers. And gonna give it based on, the everything you guys talked about. You both made great points. Gonna give it a 4 out of 6.
Oh my God.
I'm just kidding.
God, I knew you were going to be dumb.
Yeah.
Better be a joke, Steven.
I
thought you were going to try to pull some kind of spit. I was like, no.
Nah, I'm putting on that gauntlet. I'm taking the Infinity Stones, and I'm just whopping out all your love characters. Oh, what? Black Panther made how much money? A squash. What? Spider-Man is the coolest, best Spider-Man out of, the 15 years we've been waiting for him, and the third Spider-Man, squash. OG Avengers only. That, and I'm going to take a seat. I'm going to start farming. I'm going to do all that. Dang. Telling me that this isn't worth 10 years? It is worth 10 years. Through all of that, through all of Thor's, through all of Robert Downey Jr. You know what? Give it up for Robert Downey Jr. You know what? No, scratch that. Give it up for Wesley Snipes. He's the one that give it up for Wesley Snipes. Without Wesley Snipes, this never would have happened. See those movies in the corner? That's all thanks to Wesley Snipes for starting back the comic book movies and getting us to where we are now. Thank you, Wesley Snipes. Thank you. We also got, the future. We got the next 10 years of Marvel Studios. And this has no sign of slowing down market-wise, money-wise. Actors are coming out nowadays. The only thing they can do better is to tie in everything they've tied in before, which makes me frustrated, I guess, because they kept it so under wraps that the Netflix series and the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. series is going to look stupid now because they're like, oh, why aren't you disappearing? Because, Infinity War makes people disappear. Why aren't you disappearing? You're like, we didn't know. We already invented a story. So now it's just probably going to detour away from that. So that's going to stink. But Thanos is the best bad that we've ever had. All the characters have grown so much into trying to protect themselves and losing everything they have. Rocket Raccoon was the best character, I think, out of everything. Just trying to be the captain, just trying to help others. And he's like still being funny at the same time. Thor was probably the second best one. I mean, goodness gracious, this is the Thor I've wanted. Just happy-go-lucky, even in the face of total despair and destruction, taking a dying star to the back of his head. Ah, man. Telling me this isn't worth 10 years? That this isn't the best Marvel cinematic movie out there? You're crazy, man. You're crazy if you think that. Look at this. Look at the reviews. There are nothing but going up from here. This is nonstop. We're talking about every single Marvel hero that you can think of is going to get a movie from now on. And I'm excited and I cannot wait. The only thing, I just saw the Ant-Man and the Wasp trailer. I totally, when I came out of the theater, did not expect anything. I'm like, who cares? Who cares about the Ant-Man and the Wasp? I'm in despair. I hate myself and everybody around me. But now, after seeing that, for real. Felt a lot of emotions coming out of that film. But yeah, seeing Ant-Man and the Wasp trailer, hearing that like soundtrack they have going on, dang, that got me pumping up. That got me so excited, and that's what it is. It brings.
I didn't watch it.
No, I'm not gonna say anything else other than it has some pretty, interesting soundtracks. Maybe copying from Deadpool. I don't know.
I was gonna say, speaking about Deadpool, how is?
No, I'm still talking. I'm still talking.
Oh.
No, I'm still on a high. I'm on a high right now. No. You don't think 10 years I've been waiting for this? How? You made me forget. Damn it. Such on a high.
You were on Deadpool.
I was on Deadpool. Now before that, Man and the Wasp.
You were talking about soundtrack.
Now before that.
Beats. You're about to get it bumped.
Yeah.
Anyway.
What I was going to say was, take a good look at this. This is it, guys, right here. We're going to post this on Instagram. All right, now I'm done.
All right. I figured. With Deadpool and Solo coming out very, relatively close to Infinity War. I mean, I'm pretty sure Infinity War is still going to be in theaters by the time these two come out. Do you think we'll see a dip in box office with these two movies coming out, or like what's the near future looking like for Infinity War?
The near future is looking like a dip in my bank account because I am definitely going to see Infinity War 5 more times at least. Now maybe 3. I can only afford 3 more times. And I will probably not see Solo whatsoever. If you are a true Star Wars fan, you will not either. We need to pretend this movie isn't even coming out, doesn't exist, disregard it entirely, don't even talk about it. And Deadpool, yeah. I mean, yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Infinity War is gonna be the highest grossing movie ever to be filmed. So that's gonna be that.
I mean, if
And then,
Cars was coming out against Solo, I'd probably see Cars.
well, who wouldn't see Cars?
Yeah, Cars is really good.
The Cars is really good. First Cars? Hell yeah. Yeah, Solo. I don't know. I might see Solo. I haven't seen The Last Jedi though, so they're saying something.
They need to make a hybrid or cross universes between Cars and Deadpool, and then it's just like a Deadpool car mixture combination, and he's just humping a bunch of other cars. That's what we need.
I do feel sad for Deadpool for that stunt woman who died on a motorcycle. That's pretty messed up. I don't want to see that.
I did not know that, but thank you for just
Yeah,
It's a big downer.
Debbie Downing
Yeah.
over here.
Cool. We did it, guys.
I was gonna say, are there any negative reviews?
No, hell no. It's a 6 out of 6 out of 6. I didn't even look. Oh, hey, Thanos isn't supposed to be like that. He's supposed to have Lady Di. Shut it. Shut it. It's the best movie on earth. Telling me, oh, it would have been better to see Thanos make out with a skeleton. No, it wouldn't. It's better that he's a dad. It's better that he's a dad now.
But wait, where's Henry Cavill's mustache? We're still looking for that thing because it disappeared with everybody else. Everybody else died.
Just wiped off the face of the earth.
Do you think?
It's gone.
Do you think there's an alternate reality out there where the DCEU was able to pull off what Marvel has done, and we were all here talking about and freaking out at a Justice League
That alternate universe
Infinity Crisis or something?
Yeah, that alternate universe, it would have to be DC being owned by a different studio other than Warner Brothers, because I really feel like it's not DC at all. That is the problem. It is somebody at Warner Brothers. We don't know who, because he has the cloak of invisibility or some crap. I don't know what he's hiding behind and why he hasn't been fired. Because yeah, if you even watch, and I'm sorry to go on a little bit of a tangent. I'm going to finish up. But if you watch interviews with Zack Snyder, and he's talking about that scene in Batman v Superman where Batman's holding a gun, he was like, yeah, I didn't want to be the guy who made him pull the trigger, but there were a lot of people behind me that were saying, yeah, do it, make him pull the trigger on the guy's head, make him shoot him through the effing head or whatever. And I was like, it kind of sounds like he's, I mean, not only is he trying to take the blame off of himself, but it kind of sounds like he's talking about somebody, and I don't know who it is, but he needs to get fired.
The Warner Brother guy, not Zack Snyder.
Yeah.
However, I mean, there is somebody at DC who wants Batman and Batgirl to do it, so
it's true. This is true.
I don't think DC is, completely blameless.
All I know is that I want X-Men now. I want X-Men to come out, and it better be in Deadpool, just like an Infinity Rift. You know what? In Avengers 4. In Avengers 4, if I don't see a Fantastic Four cameo or an X-Men cameo, I'm going to be done. That's a promise right here, right now.
Okay, wait. Last thing, and this will wrap up everything. You only have one title to choose. What do you title Avengers 4?
Oh, I like, me and Steven already talked about this. I agree with Steven.
Right. It's something that Doctor Strange said to Tony Stark, where it's going to be...
And it's said, and Tony Stark has said before.
Oh, yes. Which movie was that?
Ultron,
yeah. Ultron has a big impact. Yeah, it's called Avengers Endgame. Boom, boom. And we get that score playing in the background. Yeah.
I like it.
That or Avengers. Don't worry, everybody survives this time.
Don't worry, we haven't forgot about Hawkeye.
Dude, I think Hawkeye's going to show up in Ant-Man and the Wasp. Also,
Probably.
Hawkeye families dies, probably. Right? Hawkeye family dies.
That's what I'm hearing.
Hawkeye's family was faded away. He is totally disheartened that he takes up on the mantle of Ronin.
And I'm guessing Aunt May disappears too, so that she doesn't have to worry about Peter.
Aunt May has also disappeared because otherwise she would blow her brains out because Peter's gone missing on a field trip for all she knows.
Well, it could be a way of how she figures out he's Spider-Man in this universe, which I hope she doesn't.
Well, she's
you know what else?
The end of Homecoming.
Oh, wait, yeah, that's right. Oh, wow. Dropped the ball on that one.
I was going to say, we didn't get any Karen scenes in Spider-Man's suit or Friday in Iron Man's suit. And it kind of only happened when they went into space, which I guess they can only work on Earth and not in space, the AI in their suit. But I don't know. I wish I could have
Wait a second. Hold on. That
was the whole thing they mentioned when he was going up there. And Friday, he was trying to talk to Pepper. It was
now
like,
I'm losing
you.
Yeah. I'm a little hung up now on this Aunt May thing. Why wasn't she in the streets trying to look for Peter? Like, do not get on that spaceship.
Peter, I see the spaceship in the sky. You better not be on that thing. Call me back.
Peter had the right idea. You can't be a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man if there's no neighborhood. He had to go out there. He had to be the best hero out of all these losers.
This is true, but it could have been our moment of her being like, bringing up Uncle Ben and being like, this is not what Uncle Ben meant by, taking on responsibility. You're not supposed to die.
Yeah, no,
yeah.
It is exactly that.
To die? I don't know. Even Tony doesn't want him to die, and he's not even related to him.
Yet.
The greater the power,
okay.
The greater the power, the greater the responsibility.
But you know who doesn't disappear? The one person who doesn't disappear? Gwyneth motherfucking Paltrow. Gwyneth Paltrow does not die. Her, Karen, and Friday are all going to take New York, and they're going to be like the governor / like apocalyptic soul deity survivor, and just going to rule half of the United States, maybe even more, with the Iron Legion.
All right, let's end it here. Okay, everybody. That's the end. I'm just kidding.
It's true. Mark my words. Gwyneth Paltrow is your god.
I just realized why I have such a hard time pronouncing her last name. It's because I keep getting her name confused with a Harry Potter spell, Petrotum. I keep wanting to say, like, is it Petrotum? Petroleum?
Gwyneth Paltrow. It's Paltrow.
So there you go, everybody. If you've watched any of our other episodes, that's the reason why I can never pronounce her name right.
All right. Timothy, where can they find you on Instagram now that you're on it now?
Yeah, I'll be making a comeback on Instagram at Fishbone Malone. There we talk about figs, comics, and movies. I'll also be working on other social media platforms, but for right now, you can just find me there. For sure. If you guys enjoyed all this comic book talk that we've been having, please support your local comic book shops. Go out there and tell them, yo, I just saw Infinity War. I need my fix, my favorite heroes, and more adventures that make me feel something again. And they'll help you. They'll point you in the right direction.
Cool. And Dr. Cosmic, where can they find you?
You can find me at Dr. Cosmic. That's with a K and Z, not a C and an S. You'll figure it out, I'm sure. At Instagram, I post figure art pictures and comic books that I'm reading. Also, I will be posting really soon about Avengers Infinity War and everything that went down, hopefully in the near future. That way, give people a little bit more time to watch it, just in case, they don't want to watch anything, any spoilers, see any spoilers. And also, I know we've been talking really bad about the DC universe, but I hope they learn from this movie and the success from this movie. But I mean, I can't. It's hard for me to talk about them, guys. Like, I see posts of everybody trying to be like, stay positive, and the DC universe is still here, and I'm like, I don't know. I kind of think we should just stay silent about it until they give us something worth talking about. So until then, just follow me on Instagram, and we'll keep hoping.
Yep. Just keep your head down until Wonder Woman 2. Just do that. My name is Steven. You can find me at Instagram under the username at @the_nerdtron. There, we're going to be probably talking about spoilers, because now that I got 1 out of 3 watchers not watching spoilers anymore, I'm really interested in spoilers. So I'm just going to probably be chock full of spoilers. So that's what I'm going to do. All right. Who wants to send us off for the last time? Anybody want to do the honors? Mainly because I forgot what we say.
Should we try doing the Avengers theme song together? You guys want to hold hands and sing Kumbaya?
You want to do the Marvel's national anthem? Marvel anthem? How does it go? It goes like... I don't know.
Just roll the music.
All right.
Honestly, just roll that music.
Thank you, everyone. You guys keep listening, and we'll keep on watching.